Hello and welcome to This Is Us. I'm Becca King-Reed, and this week we're on the campus of Guide Dogs for the Blind in San Rafael. These little guys are full of fun right now, but one day, they'll learn to be guide dogs and they'll make a big difference in someone's life. And today you'll see how they're trained, how they impact lives, and how this great organization got started. We'll also profile two extraordinary local women, noted oceanographer, explorer, and author Dr. Sylvia Earle, who was named by Time magazine as the first hero for the planet. The former chief scientist for NOAA has spent so much time on the ocean floor, colleagues call Earle her deepness. And Olympic hero Amy Chow, a gymnast and a member of the famous Magnificent Seven, the first American team to win an Olympic gold medal at the 1996 Games in Atlanta. Amy is now a practicing pediatrician. We've got a lot of stories to share. It all starts now.
This is us.
This is us.
This is us.
Welcome back. I'm with Ken Alton of Guide Dogs for the Blind. Ken, thank you so much for inviting us in and for bringing your wonderful dog, Bristol.
Sure, glad to be here.
How long have you and Bristol been working together?
We've been a team now 7 years, and he'll be 9 soon. So, we've been together a long time.
Got a bond.
Yeah, we got quite a bond, yeah.
Now, I read on your website that your goal is to partner dogs with people so that they can live the guide dog lifestyle. Explain to us a little, what is the guide dog lifestyle?
Lifestyle is very simply to, what we say, enhance someone's mobility. In other words, increase their ability to travel, whether it's just in their neighborhood, in a large city, or even beyond that, flying. He's allowed to go on board a plane with me and travel with me directly on the plane. So whether it's here locally or abroad or wherever, it's about increasing our ability to be more comfortable and travel independently.
It seems like that would also give you more confidence in a strange environment alone. It would seem kind of scary. Does it help just to have the dog with you?
It does. It helps greatly. For example, in an airport, it was all the confusion and the rope lines and not sure where to go. I'm very calm with him. We just take it one step at a time and go to each station and get through security and just move right along. So I would not be nearly as comfortable or as confident if I was doing it by myself with a cane.
Now, did Bristol, he trained here?
He was trained here, yeah.
Now, how many partnerships have been formed here at Guide Dogs for the Blind?
Well, every year we graduate 300 teams, and we have currently over 2,100 active teams out there, and we serve all of the United States and Canada. So anybody who's a resident of any of the provinces of Canada or any of the 50 states, and yes, we have dogs in Hawaii, so they do go to Hawaii. So.
Well, that sounds great. Now, what kinds of things do these dogs specialize in? What is their real skill?
Their basic skill is they're trained to get an individual safely from point A to point B, whatever that is. It's my job as the handler to know where we're going. If we're going to the supermarket, to know we have to go 4 blocks west, then turn and go 4 blocks east. It's Bristol's job to get us there safely, and that's maneuvering around trash cans, poles, stopping at curbs, or any elevation change he's been trained to stop at. I cue us to cross at an intersection using traffic flow as an indicator, and his job is to get me safely across or not to cross if there's a dangerous situation in the street.
Oh, that's amazing. And how long does it take a dog like Bristol to learn that?
It takes him about 10 weeks in formal training to learn that.
And at what age do they arrive there? How are they puppies or?
He's coming back in for training at just about a year and a half.
Okay, so a year and a half old. So that gives you, once he's trained, you have a good long time with him as your partner.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then will he retire at some point?
He will retire whenever he slows down or he just deems that it's no longer viable for him to do the work anymore. And as a graduate, I have first option to adopt him and keep him as a pet, or he may come back, go to the raisers, the family that raised him as a puppy, which is really nice. Or if none of those options are available, he will come back here to Guide Dogs for the Blind, and we will place him with a proper home with a nice family so he can live out the rest of his life.
Okay, well that sounds like a good life for a dog.
It is, it's a great life.
Thank you so much, Ken. I'm going to head over to the obstacle course now, and we're going to take a look at some of the training the dogs go through.
Oh, good boy. Huh? What a good boy. That's it. Look at that. Okay, Pelham forward. Atta boy. That's it. Hop up. Atta boy. Good boy, Pelham. Hop up. That's it. Good. Hop up. Pelham. Hop up. Oh, what a good boy. What a good boy, Pelham. Look at that. Look at that. Look what you found. What a good boy. That's it. Good. Okay, Pelham forward. Atta boy. There you go. And halt.
Aw. Hi,
Good
Kelly.
boy. Yay. Hi, Becca.
It's good to see you.
Good to see you.
This is Kelly, Martin, and his dog Pelham. And Pelham is really pretty smart. That was pretty impressive.
He is. He's a great dog, very willing and really wanting to do the work, and that's exactly what we want in a dog, is have that type of willingness.
Now, how do you get him to do all these things? How do you teach him to do what he just showed us?
Well, it's a great question. When the dogs first start their training, we do something that's called pattern training, and what we do is we pattern the correct behavior, and then it's the repetition of patterning that correct behavior, and then also pairing that correct behavior with a motivator, and the motivator is verbal, physical praise, and then the most powerful motivator, especially for a Labrador Retriever, as many people know, is the use of food. So those are the ways that we train the dogs.
So you catch him doing something right and you give him a treat.
Exactly. We catch him doing something right, and we also, in the patterning, we make sure that things go right. So the dog is building off of that success. You know, much like people, you know, you build off of success. It's the same thing with a dog.
Now, I noticed when you got here, he stopped you. He gave you a cue so you wouldn't bump your head.
Right.
Now,
Yep.
how do you must have to train the people who work with the dogs to understand the dog's cues.
We do, and the client goes out and walks with their dogs during their formal training while they're here twice a day with an instructor right there with them, and they learn how to basically walk with their dog and how to read those cues that the dog is giving them through the harness handle.
So people come here and they stay for a while to learn how to work with their dog.
They do. Right now we have both 2 weeks and also a 3-week class. In the 2-week class, the way we're able to do it in such a fairly short period of time is our instructors have just 2 clients that they're working with. So there's a lot of one-on-one time with the clients during that 2 weeks. It's a very condensed class, but we're able to accomplish the same amount of work in that much shorter period of time because of that smaller ratio of instructor-client.
And then they can get back to their lives or new lives.
Absolutely,
with
absolutely,
their dog.
absolutely. And that's the other advantage of being able to have the shorter class cycle is the person has a life. You know, they work and go to school and have families. We want them to be able to come here, get that mobility that they're looking for, and then be able to get back home and rejoin their families and their lives again as quickly as possible.
Well, thank you so much for showing us Pelham and putting her through her paces, and for being with us today.
You're welcome, Becca. Thanks for having us.
We'll be back in a minute with some guide dog puppies. How fun is that going to be? But first, we're going to take a trip under the sea with noted oceanographer Sylvia Earle.
First question a lot of people ask, isn't it scary out there? Aren't you afraid? And I think, what's there to be afraid of? When I go down in a submarine, I revel in the life that I see.
Sylvia Earle doesn't have the typical desk job. In fact, there is no desk. Miles below the ocean's surface is where she does her best work. She's an oceanographer, explorer, and advocate for all things related to the sea.
To speak for those creatures who can't speak for themselves.
She gets that set look, and then she's, there's no changing her mind, and she gets that. She is pretty much fearless.
Sylvia doesn't like to think of herself as brave, but how else do you describe someone who has spent more than 7,000 hours underwater? That's including the time in 1970 when she and 4 other female scientists dove 50 feet to a tiny laboratory where they lived for 2 weeks.
The Tektite structure itself was home base, a place where you could get a shower, you could cook, you could change clothes, there were microscopes. It really was a laboratory. But the real advantage was the gift of time, to be able to stay in the ocean for prolonged periods of time without going back to the surface. And it made such a difference getting to know a piece of the reef very well.
By the time it was over, the Aqua Babes were nationwide celebrities.
It was a different perspective for me as a scientist to be treated like a rock star.
It was just the first of many record-setting missions for Sylvia. In 1979, she dove 1,250 feet and walked the ocean's floor, untethered, for over 2 hours. While doing so, Sylvia looked more like an astronaut than a marine scientist. The parallels were clear. Space was not the only unexplored frontier.
It's not about setting records, though. It's about a race, if you will, to try to understand the ocean. In the last 50 years, we've lost half the coral reefs. 90% of many of the big fish are gone. They're gone.
Sylvia is one of the ocean's greatest defenders. This dedication has made her a kind of underwater royalty, nicknamed her deepness.
I think the one that kind of stuck from when I was at NOAA and made such a fuss about the fish, they started calling me the Sturgeon General.
Sylvia is referring to her days as chief scientist for the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration. Working for the government wasn't what she expected.
She really went in thinking that she was going to be able to make a fundamental difference in Washington. And it just, it was just a frustrating experience. Some of the guys were telling her, well, you can't wear that color, you can't wear that jewelry. And she wasn't being respected as a scientist. And she eventually decided that she could be more effective from the outside than within.
From then on, Sylvia called her own shots. In 1992, she formed Deep Ocean Exploration and Research. Now run by her daughter and son-in-law, the company designs and builds submersibles, miniature submarines that can take Sylvia and other scientists deeper than scuba gear ever could.
I love the submarines that enable you to go down and actually be a part of the ocean.
Wherever Sylvia goes next, she wants others to join her in the Ocean Explorer. This includes diving 3,200 feet for a view of what she calls the blue heart of the planet.
And Sylvia's goal really with that vehicle is to be able to bring artists, kids, songwriters, politicians, anybody that she can convince to get into that submarine with her.
When completed, Sylvia believes the sub can eventually change how people see the world.
Most of the ocean has never been seen by anybody, ever. We need to go deep in the sea to be able to explore, understand, and use that knowledge.
Another way Sylvia is helping others understand the sea is through Google Earth. The alliance was formed after a slip of the tongue to one of its top executives.
I said to John Hankey, you should call it Google Dirt. And I didn't mean to say it, it just popped out.
Sylvia's comment was a lightning bolt to the company. Google Earth had mapped land all over the world, but not water. To fix that, they joined forces with Sylvia.
Like a seiche, almost a tidal wave.
She's got just a sort of way about her that makes you want to help her achieve her mission and really re-examine why we love the ocean.
So far, Google Earth has been downloaded more than 1 billion times.
You can explore, find interesting content, and really start to understand what's going on in the ocean.
The same week, the new Google Earth debuted, Sylvia stood atop her biggest stage yet. Each year, the prestigious TED Conference gives awards to top thinkers in the fields of technology, entertainment, and design. As a winner, Sylvia was given $100,000 and 20 minutes to speak about the ocean. She calls it the talk of her life.
Nothing else will matter if we fail to protect the ocean.
The audience was so captivated, she was able to raise an additional $17 million to fund her effort to protect the ocean.
People now know what's at stake. Knowing is the key. If you know, you might care.
Welcome back to Guide Dogs for the Blind in San Rafael. I'm with Sharon Cretin. She is the puppy raising specialist. That is a great title.
Thank you. We have a great time here, socializing our puppies and getting them ready to leave guide dogs and go out to their puppy raisers. And
How many are here? How many puppies are here? We see quite a few.
we have about 60 in this area right now. We have a little over 800 that are born each year here at Guide Dogs, mainly Labrador retrievers. We have some golden retrievers and some cross between the lab and the golden. And they stay here until they're about 8 to 10 weeks old when they're ready to go out to their puppy raising homes. And we provide them some basic socialization and getting them used to being around people, getting them used to being handled and everything while they're here.
Now, it is hard for me to handle a single puppy, and you have 60. How do you manage all of these? They're all so frisky.
Oh, well, we couldn't do it without the help of all of our wonderful volunteers. We have volunteers here Monday through Saturday every morning and in the afternoons coming in and helping us socialize these guys, getting them out, getting them playtime, teaching them how to walk on a leash and have a collar on and getting them used to somebody handling them. So it's a very sought after job here
I'll
at
bet
Guide
that
Dogs.
sounds like the best job ever.
It is. It's what everybody wants to come do, be here in our puppy area.
And so they come out every morning
Absolutely.
and play like this.
Play like this, get some socialization, playtime with each other, and some individual time working with the volunteers, learning to walk on a leash and go upstairs and introduce them to different surfaces. So
Now, once they get to be the 10 weeks old, then what happens?
well, then they leave here and they go out to their puppy raising homes. We have puppy raisers in the 8 western states, and those are volunteer families that take these little guys into their home for about a year, teach them basic obedience, house behaviors, and socialization. So getting them out in the public, taking them to the grocery store, going to the mall, going to a movie, just getting them out and about in public transportation and getting them to be a very well socialized dog.
Aw, so they come back all ready to go in the public, and
They
no
do.
snarling, no barking.
Hopefully not. No, absolutely. We breed more for the temperament of the dog, so that's what we're looking for, is a nice, calm, well-behaved dog that's been well socialized before they come back here for their formal training.
Now, those must be special people, because once you get, you go through quite a lot to train a puppy. And then
Absolutely.
just when they get to where you can have fun and take them places, they leave.
They leave, and that's the hard part, is having to say goodbye to them. But that's what you know when getting into the puppy raising program, that what you're working toward and what our mission is of providing dogs to people that are blind or visually impaired, so they love them and then have to say goodbye, like sending your kid off to college. Or something.
And then can they get another puppy?
Absolutely, we will have another puppy ready for them the day they bring their dog in for training. So.
Aw, that's great. What nice people. Now you do that yourself. You
I
raise
do.
puppies.
I'm a puppy raiser. That's how I got started with Guide Dogs, was becoming a puppy raiser, and then was lucky enough to get a job here a few years ago. So I can enjoy this every day.
Now, these guys don't always turn out to be the perfect guide dog. Not everybody has that temperament. What do you do with the other dogs?
They don't. About half of our dogs go on to become guides. Those that don't, we call it a career change. People kind of laugh and snicker at that, but we do try to find other careers for them. We have a canine buddy program. We work with other organizations, diabetes detection, search and rescue, hearing dogs. So we try to find other careers for them if they're not going to become a guide.
Well, thank you for introducing us to the puppies and
Oh,
letting
you're
us play with them.
wonderful.
This has been the best morning
Hope you
ever.
enjoyed your day. We have a good day here every morning.
Well, we'll be back with more from Guide Dogs for the Blind, but first, let's meet Olympic gold medalist Amy Chow. She twists, she twirls, she tumbles. She's Olympic gold medalist Amy Chow.
I saw Mary Lou on TV when I was 6 years old, and I thought, oh, that's what I want to do.
She did indeed, and walked away with not 1, but 3 Olympic medals.
It's kind of like a dream come true, but at the same time, you're not really believing that it is true.
Amy Chow was born in San Jose, California, and raised in a supportive, close-knit family. At 3 years of age, her mother decided the youngster needed an activity, like ballet.
She liked to dance when she was little, and so she decided that maybe it would be ballet for me. But then I guess, since they didn't take children until they were 5, that's why she put me in the gymnastics class. I don't think she really realized where things would go at that point.
Little did Amy know, she was an Olympian in the making.
Well, I don't think I really realized because I was small and I was a little bit oblivious and I was just doing my best, learning all these new skills. So you can ask, I guess, my coach to see when he actually thought, he saw something.
We knew from a young age that she had that kind of talent. You could kind of tell that she was something there. There was a little bit of a spark. You could tell she had some natural flexibility, and she definitely had some natural speed.
Amy fell in love with the sport, but her shyness proved to be a challenge for her coach, Mark Young.
I think it was a little rough for her being around somebody that was as pushy as I was at that time, so she got over it.
Well, I kind of grew up with him. He was actually kind of like a second father to me, as well as my coach, Diane Amos, too. They were kind of like second parents.
What they did have in common was the same work ethic.
She went to 2-a-day workouts here. She had a morning training, she had an afternoon and evening training, had the special camps, and she was still able to keep up with everything. So I think the work ethic is the biggest thing, and a certain amount of courage, because like I said before, it takes a lot of guts to be a gymnast, and some of the stuff that she did was hanging out right on the edge.
I liked having difficult skills in my routine. It was probably a little bit more risky, but I really enjoyed doing those skills.
Amy Chow.
You have to be willing to put in those long hours. You have to be willing to sit through the injuries, while you're getting better. So for me, I know a lot of people have those moments where like, oh my gosh, I want to quit. This is too much. You get overwhelmed. But for me, I think I loved I wouldn't say every minute of it, but I really did love what I was doing, and I don't think I would have done it if I didn't love it. And so I think that's what kind of motivated me or drove me to continue.
Chow's dedication landed her a spot on the U.S. women's gymnastics team for the 1996 Atlanta Games. Dubbed the Magnificent Seven, the septet made history by snagging the first ever team gold medal for the United States. Amy also walked away with a silver medal for her intricate performance on the uneven bars. Nicknamed the Trickster by the media, her complex moves were so difficult that two were named after her, the Chow 1 and the Chow 2. Amy went on to the 2000 Sydney Games, but left empty-handed and saw a disappointing slip for the team to 4th place. Amy decided perhaps it was time to get a real job.
I've always kind of wanted to be a doctor.
I figured she would have picked out the hardest thing to possibly do and do it.
Chow not only picked the hardest profession, but also one of the most prestigious schools in the world, Stanford University. Amy graduated in 2007 and began her practice at the Palo Alto Medical Foundation in 2010. Given her shy nature, it seems surprising that she chose pediatrics.
All right, now we're going to do big chicken wings like this. Good. And I want you to keep those chicken wings up, okay? Nice and strong. Ready? Wow, so strong. Good job. I like children a lot, and I like interacting with them, and I think that's why pediatrics. Daddy! You want to see something? No. Look at this. Oh, look at
Working with children seems like a natural fit for the youthful Chow. It also comes with fringe benefits.
Well, definitely, yeah, because I'm talking to patients every day, not just interacting with the kids, but interacting with their parents. So I think that has helped open me up and understand a lot more people and have them understand me too. Okay, all right. Well, I hope you feel better soon, okay, JoJo? Okay. All right.
Have any of her patients recognized her?
Some parents know, some parents don't. But most of them are just very gracious, and, they tell their children, and their children apparently tell, their classmates. And one mother came in the other day and she's like, oh, the whole school knows now that, you're, my child's doctor, because she was so excited when she found out. So that's really funny, but.
Chow's talents seem to be limitless. She's excelled at just about everything she's tried, from playing piano to pole vaulting to diving and dancing. But there must be something she can't do well.
Well, I'm not so good at cooking. I probably cook like 2 dishes. That's about it. I am not that great with the ball sports, you could say. So things like basketball, even though I like to play and try to play, I guess I would say I'm not very good at them.
In 2010, Chow and her Sydney Olympics teammates received a surprising announcement that the U.S. team would be awarded the bronze medal, due to the disqualification of an underage member from the Chinese team, adding yet another accolade to Amy's accomplished career.
I didn't expect it at all. And I kind of feel bad for the Chinese gymnasts. I mean, they were, training just as hard as us, working just as hard as us. They had the same dreams as us, and then, now it's gotten taken away. So that's kind of, I think, hard for them.
Heartbreak and disappointment seem to come with the territory when you're an elite athlete. Despite those challenges, Chow feels her sacrifice and dedication were all worthwhile.
Well, I definitely don't regret anything in my life. I set a lot of goals when I was young, and I accomplished the ones that I really wanted to accomplish. Now my life is great. I'm married, and I'm working as a pediatrician, and trying to stay active in other ways. So. Eventually, I'd like to have some kids of my own. And then I think that's probably my main goal right now, and then also having a nice career as well. So.
With her track record, there's little doubt Chow will manage that too. Well, it's just about time to say so long, but before we do, I wonder, Ken, could you tell us how this all got started?
Yes, in 1942, the founders started serving veterans who came back from World War II who had been wounded in battle. And over time, it progressed to serving anybody who is legally blind. We serve all of the United States and Canada, and our services are free to anybody who's legally blind.
Really? So all this training that you do for these dogs, and then you give them to people who need them?
Yeah, we're a private organization, and nonprofit, and we do our own fundraising. And you can reach us at www.guidedogs.com.
Okay, well, thank you so much for bringing us in and for letting us see all the wonderful activities here and meet the dogs and especially the puppies.
You're welcome.
Thanks very much. For Ken and I and everyone at This Is Us, I'm Becca King-Reed saying good night.
This is us. This is us.